World Health Organization has labeled the outbreak of COVID-19, a novel coronavirus, a pandemic. The first known case started in Wuhan, China in November 2019 and has since spread to over 100 countries and territories around the world, infecting more than 160,000 people. It's caused schools, businesses, and day-to-day activities to grind to a halt. How did we get here and when will it end? I sat down with Dr. Mehmet Oz to discuss what we know so far and how we can keep ourselves and others healthy. There are over 6,500 deaths worldwide and it's still spreading quickly. The World Health Organization says it's a bigger threat than terrorism, yet 80% of the people who get it show mild symptoms and recover quickly. So what are we to believe? How serious is it?
It's serious, but not for the reasons you may think. A lot of people think, well, terrorists, they can attack at any time, anywhere. But the total amount of damage that a terrorist could do is relatively limited. But a virus could mutate, it could wreak havoc in societies, it could affect their economies, which is what we're witnessing right now. So the devastation goes far beyond the lives that are taken by the infection. They go into the deeper psyche of humanity. And the interesting thing about viruses and infections in general is we are hardwired to panic over them. Because for most of human history, what actually hurt us the most was a virus, something we couldn't see, wiping out a whole swath of the village.
COVID-19 is a new virus and infectious disease. How easily are new viruses like this created?
These viruses are very easily created. We've had several over the last decade alone. And part of the reason for that is because mankind is squeezing the animal species more and more. These viruses come from animals where often they're not causing illness.
The incubation period is closer to 2 weeks, so you could be walking around with it for a long time before you know you have it. How dangerous is that?
So not only can you never have a symptom, you can be pre-symptomatic, to your earlier point, where you're waiting to incubate this thing for a week or longer. And then after you get better, we have no idea how long the virus can continue to come out of your pores. So it's very hard for people to avoid getting infected unless they wash their hands. But most people wash for 5 seconds and they're done, right? But what you have to do is wash your hands like a surgeon washes their hands. So get the soap and water on the hands and then quickly go to the Turkish twist. I call it the Turkish twist because you take these fingers into the palm. This is how surgeons wash their hands. And you rub, so now you're rubbing all the fingers, the bottom and the top, into the palm of the other hand. And after you've done that, you get because the thumbs are out, you clean the thumbs, and then you get the fingers on the palm like this. And that takes about 20 seconds and dramatically reduces the chance of your fingers carrying a virus to your face, because we touch our face dozens of times an hour. And the best way to avoid getting this virus is to take care of your body. Sleep a little more than 7 hours a night, exercise, which means, specific to me, breaking a sweat if you can, at least every other day, eating real food that comes out of the ground looking the way it looks when you eat it.
And how important is social distancing?
Social distancing is how we will beat the epidemic. If you look at Wuhan, China, they were looking at a full-blown catastrophe. And they created a quarantine, the largest ever in human history, of 60 million people. If you look at the provinces outside of Wuhan, there's not much virus. It didn't really hit them. It was never allowed to get there. They shut it down. So then it goes to South Korea. South Koreans shut it down. Goes to Italy. Italians say, you know what, we're not going to deal with it right now. We have events. I don't want to cause problems to our economy. And so they waited. Italy is 2 weeks ahead of the United States now. The Italians are suffering horribly. They had 500 deaths almost this weekend because of that. That's what catalyzed a lot of the American lawmakers to make big decisions. To shut down schools, shut down businesses, to insist on restaurants and bars no longer opening, so that people didn't have a chance to aggregate into groups where they can infect each other.
The U.S. has begun the first human trial for the vaccine. Are you optimistic about this?
I'm very optimistic about vaccines. There's many companies working at them. We understand the virus, its structure. We know where the weaknesses are in the virus. There are 2 particular areas that are targeted. We have medications that have worked against those areas.
So a vaccine to fight this is a year off. Can we expect it to end before we have a vaccine?
There's no way I can imagine this virus disappearing. It's an endemic virus now, which means it's growing everywhere. It's already in everything, so it'll never go away. The major benefit of this pandemic, if there is one, is that we're all now heightened in our awareness of how important social separation is. And next time around, the world will deal with this much better.